Okay, here we are, and it's the end, I guess, of January. And what to say? The whole world is about to go throw itself at Ukraine. Everybody's fighting over Ukraine. Blooming pathetic, isn't it? What to say about this? By the way, if you hear me sounding a bit nasal, I've got COVID. What a bloody pain in the arse that is, but I've got COVID, and I'm isolating. I'm on my own without, apart from my darling wife. She's over another cottage, and I'm on my own. So it's my opportunity to be grumpy. I can be grumpy, can't I? I deserve to be grumpy. Ukraine. Boris Johnson will be so pleased, won't he, if he has a nice little war in Ukraine. Oh boy, he'd be like Maggie Thatcher with the Falklands. He'd like that. Delicious for him. Distract him from his old mess up. Oh, how pathetic that whole incident is. I mean, for goodness sake, it's a storm in a teacup in many ways. It's a nothing. It shows the substandard nature of the British press, that they've made it into a something, but nonetheless shows the substandard nature of our Prime Minister in the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, that he can't get his act together, and he is such a blooming wuss in a time of crisis. His hero is supposed to be Winston Churchill. He's pathetic. Excuse me, pathetic. And what else to tell you? Well, a lot, really, I think. A lot going on. Excuse me. COVID, God, Bennett is rampant in the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. It's rampant. And Boris is letting down the gangplank. He's letting everybody come in. He doesn't give a damn. He's into herd immunity. And he's stupid. Because a lot of people haven't been vaccinated, including some friends of mine. And they will die. I mean, we're running at a death rate of, like, in Britain alone, of 270 a day very often. Goodbye, my dear friends, who out of weird perversion haven't been vaccinated. Goodbye, Jackie. Goodbye, Belinda. Goodbye, Shafiq. What are you doing? I don't know. Dear friends of mine. But this is not what I'm here to talk about. Ukraine. Ukraine will burn. I mean, come on. If you were Mr. Putin, your skin would crawl at the thought of Ukraine falling into the hands of NATO. European Union has offered €1 billion to Ukraine to bail it out in its time of need. America's offering weapons and arms. Defensive. What's a defensive weapon? It's an offensive defensive weapon. Of course, you can use it either bloody way. I mean, what they think they're talking about? Well, giving defensive weapons to Ukraine. We're giving weapons to Ukraine. And if I were Putin, God, I'd go in and take it. I mean, you can't. How can you cope? How can you cope with the humiliation of Ukraine moving into the Western Bloc? Right under Belarus, right under Russia's front door. And yet the West doesn't understand that. I mean, the only democratic elections in recent years, the only truly democratic elections that went through all of Ukraine, elected a pro-Russian president. He was deposed, of course, by the Ukrainians who were fed up with the Russian migrants who didn't deserve to be there and were taking over much of eastern Ukraine and certainly the Crimea. So they rose up in Kiev and they managed to overthrow, but it wasn't democratic. They kicked him out, the democratically elected pro-Russian president, and there's been no free and fair election since. Or was that one free and fair? They put it probably not, but anyway, I'm just saying things are not black and white in Ukraine. The West is pretty nasty, ratcheting things up, beating the drums for violence and hatred and retribution. And Putin's prideful profile, the proof of Putin is, he has to put up or shut up. It's going to be shaming for him if he's humiliated by the West. That's how I see it. So, just let it be, for goodness sake. Ukraine would have been completely secure and safe if we hadn't forced it to give up its nuclear weapons. You remember all the Moscow, all the Russian, USSR nuclear armaments, all the weapons were in Ukraine. And we said, come on, you want to love us in the West, you give up your nuclear weapons. Well, we removed their opportunity to be secure. We cut their throats, and now they're vulnerable. Poor ones. But do we need a war over it? We want to watch our step, really. We're such tub thumpers for war. But Ukraine, of course, Crimea, big issue for Moscow. You remember the Crimean War. Do you remember? Well, no, none of us are alive at that time, but the Britain fought to seize Crimea from Moscow. All the many that died, the Florence Nightingale story. You remember that? Over what? Over who had rights to control the Christians of Jerusalem. That's what the Crimean War was about. Just to remind you, you're not students of history, I'm just telling you, that was what the Crimean War, in which countless thousands died in misery. You remember the charge of the Light Brigade? Onward went onward into doom. You remember all that courageous waste of life over Crimea in the Ukraine? Was just because a squabble of who had dominion over Jerusalem's Christians. Yeah, I'm telling you, that's what it was about. Pathetic. Go and look at your history books. Pathetic. At the end of the day, we gave them, it didn't matter. It was a nothing argument. All those lives wasted for nothing. And be careful lest we do it again over Ukraine. Let it go. Let's stop interfering. The Western, I'll tell you one little detail of history. Western imperialism was clean. When we went in, we conquered a country, we took responsibility. And then it was our fault if we screwed up, if we conquered India or whatever. Now what do? We go in, we destroy Iraq or Afghanistan or Libya or wherever it is. We walk away and take no responsibility. Colonialism was honorable compared to the behavior of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and the United States of America in today's world. Go back and be honorable colonialists and take responsibility for your misdeeds rather than now when you behave so atrociously and trash the world and walk away. Sanctions, United States of America on Lebanon. You are destroying Lebanon for what? For nothing. For nothing, to achieve nothing, because you're, what, pissed off at Hezbollah? And you destroy a whole country with banking sanctions? Such an obscenity. America has no foreign policy anymore. America has no policy. Under Mr. Biden, I thought better of Mr. Biden. On the international stage, at least Trump had a sense of direction. Horrible though he was, he had a sense of direction. Biden is nothing. He's zero, zilch. America is nothing on the world stage. Nothing. Irrelevant. And posturing Britain. Go posturing around with prideful Boris. Oh, God. But yeah, I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful for a better year in 2022. I hope we'll see less Western interventionism, which has been so destructive in recent years because it's been interventionism without responsibility. I'm hopeful we'll see less Western interventionism and a purer world, a better world, a safer world because of it. Sorry, COVID talking. I'm sure I'll be fine. No big deal. Don't worry about me, brothers and sisters. I'll be fine. And if I'm not, I'll let you know. I'm good at complaining. Anyway, so what? So Ukraine, cool it. It just sickens me, the journalists jumping on the bandwagon, being the tools of what? The tools of propaganda, the weapons of propaganda, is so often febrile. Very little really good, in-depth reporting going on. I don't blame the journalists. I mean, there are the budgets now for the great teams of analysts and so on. But we need a better way. We have to watch it. This little issue of Ukraine, is it going to cause world war? Maybe not, but I have it on good authority because I have friends who know better than me that China's watching Ukraine. If Russia steps into Ukraine, then China will use the moment, perhaps, to take Taiwan while the world is distracted. See? There are bigger issues here. Bigger issues. A lot of nasty people out there. And we do well to pause and think. Not enough thinking going on. Okay. So that's what I want. I want you to think. I want the world to think. And I'll think and pray a little for a more peaceful 2022. There are always these hurdles. There'll always be another Ukraine. But let's hope the common sense prevails. In the name of God. Amen.